All right, let's go. So, welcome. This is a review of Iman's challenge, which is 5 days long. And right now I'm reviewing the fourth day. And as we speak right now, the fifth day is actually starting behind me. So, I know this series is getting some views more than the typical videos where I talk about SMMA, about e-commerce and so on, right? So, if you're here, I guess you are wondering if it's worth actually joining his program that he's actually pitching, because the fourth day was mostly about focusing on the pay point, right? Focusing on the opportunity, and let me actually get the volume down on this one, and also on the fact that you can be early in this opportunity. So let's unpack it. Is there a problem? Yeah, I mean, problems have always existed. The main thing is that now we do tend to look more online after solutions, right? And I mean, just look at yourself right now. You are watching a video where a random guy from Europe, who you might watch again or not, is giving you his feedback, honest review, opinion on Iman, right? Because if you look at many videos on YouTube right now, most of them are either Iman is a genius or Iman is a scammer, right? And honestly, like, those are just headlines, just clickbait to actually get you to click, right? And then of course in the video you'll see if it's actually one where it's a hate video, right? Which honestly doesn't really help anyone. I mean, it does help in terms of views, right? But this is where you actually have to ask yourself, is that what you want? Just like views because you're hating on someone like Trump, the economy and stuff like that? Because that is to some extent a victim's mindset. And ideally we don't really have that, because you won't really see most successful people having that, right? But we won't talk about mindset right now, but let's look at what's happening right now in the last few days, right? Because I mean, the biggest push right now is to actually get people over the edge to actually buy his program, right? And there's also a 7-day money back guarantee, so it's very low risk, I would say. And to share my opinion here, so if you're wondering if you should join, you should probably join and then decide, do you want your money back or not? Because if you have the money, this is just entering a club and then deciding, do I want to stay here or not? So honestly, like, it's low risk. However, there are benefits to actually staying here, because imagine if you are the type of person who always makes a step in front but then 2 steps back, then you'll tend to actually do that all the time, right? Because personally, like, I joined on the second day. I'll be sharing more about the program because there are still some things that will be added there. Synthesis AI, Ghostwriter, I haven't even used them just because I didn't have a chance. And the main thing is that this is definitely an opportunity, right? Like, you can see the opportunity and you can imagine that Whoop will probably grow. So the question is if you want to join now, if you ever want to join, or if you just want to skip this opportunity completely and focus on some other things, right? Because like, you can actually focus on other things. Personally, for example, I run a marketing agency working primarily with e-commerce brands, right? However, I am aware that digital products can be part or an extension of what I'm already doing, right? Meaning that, for example, I can teach other people the same thing, like even team members. I can teach them things that I've learned in the past few years, and that basically helps them make more money over time, have more stability, success, and so on, right? And that's why what you're actually doing with this program, right, is buying access. And this is not something new, right? Think of it. Even if you go out on a date to some extent, like, you are expected to pay maybe for the date, right? And that is you paying for access, doing something to receive something back. Same here with the program. You're paying money so that Iman, his team, and so on can get paid and actually dedicate time to you or the community, let's say, right? So it's definitely like an effort from multiple parts, because Iman has packaged this and so on, but then it's you who has to take action, and you who also has to take care of making sure you make progress. Because it's easy to make a few steps and then just decide that this maybe isn't for you, right? And this is actually normal. There's a lesson in Iman's program exactly about this. The fact that in the beginning you're all excited and so on, right? Then it does go down, which is normal. Think of it. Like, at the end of the day, for example, you're kind of drained. Your thoughts are different, right? And this is where psychology comes into place. And I know some of the questions were on the past few videos if synthesis AI is worth it. Of course, it's not worth it alone. It's not just about that. It's more so the hand holding. Then, similarly with the upsell, there is an upsell. So after you buy Monetize, there's Monetize Pro, which is mostly more calls with higher ups, I would say, in Iman's team, right? I'm not sure exactly who, but for example, you would be more so in contact on calls with their CMO, Monetize's CMO, than with their community manager, right? And there's a difference in understanding between them of marketing and stuff like that. That doesn't mean the community managers can't help you. I mean, in most cases, they are actually better at community management, right? So at the actual social part. However, if you want to get into the nitty gritty with the data, with the nerdy metrics, with all of that, then of course you would want to be in touch with the CMO, with Iman, with these people. So, I mean, the upsell might be something that you are interested in or not, and same with the program. You might be interested or not. However, as I mentioned, if you buy it because you have the funds, right, it's also, there's also money back guarantee. So I see it as a low risk, right? Because after that you decide, do I want to stay here or not? And why I was mentioning that, the fact that you should think twice if you refund, is because if you refund that, right, it's as if you are likely to do that in the future as well, meaning that you maybe get into a relationship and then pull back. You start a business and then you pull back, right? It's like a mindset. So this is where I think it really helps to actually think of your decisions at least 2 times, right? And I'm also saying that because I am more of a, let's say, strategic thinker, and that's because in marketing you actually have to look at everything as a map and so on, right? So this is one point of view. At the same time, you could just like take a leap because in most cases, actually, people who overthink make less money because they overthink and see all the possible scenarios that actually make them lose money, have any kind of risk, right? For example, you wouldn't ride the motorcycle if you know that there's a higher likelihood of you dying on it or having an accident than with a car versus a plane, right? The plane actually has the lowest risk, right? However, in this 4-day, just to recap here, because I mean, it was mostly selling. I think on this day, yeah, it's still about selling, to be honest. It shows you how in 2007, I think he might have made $4. I'm just looking. All right, so it's not actually Iman, it's his guy, I would say, Jason, who is presenting this time around. So basically saying different things in a different way, which might get you to buy. But the main thing that I want to focus was that on the 4th day, he actually added a new bonus, and he did this day in and day out. He added bonuses, right? Which is, I think, to some extent, an advantage for you, because what he offered on the 4th day was Agency Accelerator, which he doesn't offer anymore. And it is for creating your own agency, right? So basically, what I also do, because I do think agencies are one of the best ways for most people, especially for, let's say, introverts, autistic people, and so on, right? Even though like you could also try to create organic content and all of that, but in most cases, agencies do work better for people who are more analytical, introverted, and so on, even though you do have to learn sales and so on, but that's in your best interest actually, because you would want to have as many skills as possible, and then decide, all right, do I actually want agency? Do I want to be a monkey that dances on TikTok? I don't know, like you can think of different ways to frame it. That's not the most elegant way for creating content, but definitely TikTok is not just about dancing anymore, right? This is how it actually started, because It started from that other app called, I even forgot at this point, so I'm definitely blanking right now. But of course, each of us are different. Each of us will actually be better at different things, right? There's a difference between a data analyst and, let's say, a person who sells, meaning that one actually prefers to talk with people while the other doesn't. However, that's the main thing here with WAP, with digital products. You can actually create your own product as you want, with your face or without, with your presence or without. So multiple ways, and it's clear that Iman makes this seem way easier than it is, but you have to realize that just like with anything, just like with Jeff Bezos starting Amazon, right? Look at Amazon where it is. It started actually small and he had to go through trial and error. So this is something that we should expect. And that's why we're always coming back to mindset, because it's all about the mindset. All right, what's the decision that you take now? And what are the micro decisions that you will take each and every day, right? Because even right now, for example, let me show you an example here. I have a bunch of messages, right? A bunch of messages here, a bunch of notifications. This is just in the past few minutes. So I have some Instagram ones, some emails, and I have to look through all of them and make sure that everything goes well, right? Because it's sometimes client work, team members, things that need to move along, right? And this happens every day. And this is where you have to decide how much responsibility do you want to take, because the more, for example, money you spend for your clients, the more responsibility you have. And just as an example, how much responsibility is on Elon Musk's shoulders? Definitely more, right? So there are levels to this game. However, this is pretty much it. As a conclusion, I mean, I'll make a video about the 5th day as well. From what it seems right now, bonuses are being added. So at this point, there's actually some kind of overwhelm, you could say, in terms of like what you're getting, because you are getting actually a lot for this. And for example, for someone such as me, right, who already has an agency and for example, a client right away would pay if I just learn one thing or anything that helps me eventually get more motivated to get one more client, that is a positive ROI right away, right? While for someone who starts at zero and they might want to start a $5, let's say, product and so on, it might not be the best decision. But this is where it depends. After all, we have to take action sometimes, and yeah, just do it, because even in college, that's actually a waste of time. You're wasting your time rather than your money in most cases, and sometimes you waste both your money and your time because it's super slow. You actually get just 1 or 2 lessons a day for a full semester. The truth is that in a full semester, most people start their own agency and make anywhere from 1K, 2K, 3K, 5K easily, actually, online, basically. So not to yap too long, I did go over a couple of things on this one, but yeah, the main thing is just keeping also myself involved in the fact that WAP, however you call it, is growing, and this space is definitely growing. So you can try to think in terms of where the future is headed, and it's clear that digital products will grow, right? So if you want to be part of it, it's better to keep an eye on it and ideally be involved if that's what you want. So that's pretty much it for this one. If you enjoyed it, you can leave a like, comment. I'll check as always, and until next time, peace out.